Hello, welcome to the 4thDown podcast. We took a little bit of break. It's been a while. It's been about a month since we last did a show. We took a little off-season break, but now we're back. We're your host for today. My name is Alex.
My name is Mickey.
And today we're going to be doing a little bit of a draft recap. We have winners and losers of the NFL draft and surprises. Basically, we pick a team or a selection that kind of surprised a little bit, like mainly first-round picks, pretty much. But well, yeah, about to say another draft in the books. A lot of young men making their dreams come true, going to their future NFL homes. It's great times. A lot of notable picks. A lot of easy to predict. Also a lot of shockers, and a lot of trades. Well, yes, but including DeAndre Swift to the Philadelphia Eagles, which that was part of the weekend trade. But yeah. So here we are. NFL draft recap. Bryce Young going to the Panthers. I really like that move. Carolina found their guy. In my personal opinion, I think Bryce Young is the most complete NFL quarterback out of the group. I think he's the most ready. C.J. Stroud is stud too. Same with Anthony Richardson. But I think Bryce Young in the big moment later on in his career, I think he can deliver compared to other quarterbacks. So
I think they'll be able to deliver now. I think they just need more time to get used to everything and be able to be that starter and be that guy. It's going to be harder for them to get thrown into the middle and immediately be able to make those big plays where I agree with you. I think Bryce Young could be able to start tomorrow.
well, yeah. But yes. Also, 3 quarterbacks were drafted in the first 4 picks. I think it's been like a whole while since that last happened.
And the Texans traded up to get the second and third pick, which was also surprising.
Yeah, I like that move. And jumping right into the Texans real quick, let's just get right to the winners and losers, starting with the winners. The Texans are actually my first winner of this draft. As mentioned, they did trade up to get Will Anderson Jr. from Alabama, which I do love the pick. I also love the C.A. Stroud pick for them. You get a dominant edge rusher, and you also get a pretty good quarterback in C.J. Stroud. The rest of their picks, too, they got a center, Juice Shrugs, Tank Dell, wide receiver, Dylan Horton, defensive end, with the 4th-round pick. 5th-round pick, they got Henry Toe. 6th-round pick, they got Jared Patterson, and along with Xavier Hutchinson in the 6th round, wide receiver, and then Brandon Hill to safety. But yeah, I like the Texans. This is basically not really a rebuild, but a reload type of deal. They fired Lovie Smith, and they pretty much went well in the free agency too, and getting Robert Woods. And I do like the way they head in the direction of the draft. I love the C.J. Stroud pick. They've got their franchise quarterback. He'll most likely start against Davis Mills, and with Will Anderson Jr. too. I think he's gonna be a stud. I like the Texans draft altogether. Like, you're a team who many can say is the worst team in the league last year, and now you're trying to push maybe a 7-win team, maybe. Who knows? But I like what the direction they're heading into.
Yeah, and another winner, going from one of the bottom teams in the league to one of the top teams in the league. One of my winners I had was the Eagles, and the Eagles didn't have as many areas to address as the Texans did, but they were able to get a lot of value for what they had. They got Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith on the first day, 2 really strong guys out of Georgia. And with the rest of their draft, they were able to really solidify their defense, and they also got DeAndre Swift, which was going to be big for them without Miles Sanders. So it's going to be interesting to see that Eagles defense dominate the NFC.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned too, Jalen Carter, which I'm surprised he fell that hard. I know he had, from what ESPN said, characteristic issues off the field, but dropping down to 10 or like 9, I think it was. It was 9. I honestly thought he was going to go to Seattle. That's my personal opinion. But the Eagles lost John Hargrave to the Niners, which that was a big loss for Philly. So they kind of replaced that with Jalen Carter, ending Adam with Nolan Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a cornerback in Georgia they got too. It was
Ringo.
Kelly Ringo. So they're pretty much becoming the Philadelphia Georgia Bulldogs. But you know, and you add in DeAndre Swift, that Philadelphia team looked like they lost nothing. So time will tell, though. Time will tell, but the Eagles can make a run back to Super Bowl and win it this time. I know. I really like Philadelphia's draft. I think they had, probably in my opinion, the best draft. Not only getting Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith, but basically acquiring DeAndre Swift too. But we'll see. Another winner, in my opinion. I do like the Green Bay Packers draft a lot. The Lucas Van Ness pick was definitely a much needed pick for the Packers, as you saw last season with the pass rush. Rashawn Gary, even with Rashawn Gary on the field, Rashawn Gary was like the only player that could really get to the quarterback. But yeah, and Van Ness, who had like 13.5 sacks last 2 seasons. Now that may not seem a lot, but he didn't even start. And Lucas Van Ness is a big dude. He's 6'7", I think 275 pounds. He's a big dude. So you add him with Gary, you can get the quarterback with ease. Now, you trade away Aaron Rodgers. You switch over Jordan Love. Jordan Love needs weapons. What did the Packers do in day 2? Draft 2 tight ends and a wide receiver, which they need a tight end value. Luke Musgraves and Turner Kraft, I believe that's the second guy. Tucker Kraft, thank you. Were much value right there. I'd really like the pursue of going after weapons for Jordan Love and Jayden Reed too. That's personally my favorite pick in the draft. Jayden Reed looks like he's a highlight reel. He is done making plays, and they had 13 picks too. I mean, you can't go wrong with 13 picks. So one of them has to be, elite talent. So I like the Packers draft addressing much needed offensive, but also too addressing the edge rush. The only thing I would say about Green Bay that I wish they did more was pursue a safety position, but there are rumors that they're talking with Adrian Amos for a new deal. So if they bring him back, then all is well.
Yeah, I like the Packers draft too. They got 2 tight ends that are both different. You have a guy who can go out there and make those plays, and you have a blocking tight end. Both of them can do both of those things as well. And it gives Jordan Love weapons to throw to. But it also gives Matt LaFleur options for different gameplays too. Especially when you have a wide receiver who looks a little bit different than what the Packers usually draft in a wide receiver.
Yeah, so I really like their draft too. But yeah, again, only time will tell. I mean, it's hard predicting winners and losers like literally the day after the draft, because 99% of the time it's wrong. Like none of these grades pan out. See.
Yeah. In a few years, that's going to be called the Brock Purdy effect.
Yeah, I mean, grading drafts are overrated in my opinion because you have no idea what's going to happen. But we like to pick winners and losers. So, there's not really a loser because we don't know yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just nice to, just give our predictions now and go from there. My other winner that I had, so we each picked 2 winners, was the Pittsburgh Steelers. They really, it seems like they're looking to dominate in their defense again. They went out and they got offensive tackle from Georgia, Broderick Jones. They got Joey Porter Jr. They really addressed a lot of their defense issues. And they also ended up getting Darnell Washington, which was a surprise that he fell to the 93rd pick. But
getting Broderick Jones, I'm sorry, but Broderick Jones was a much needed position for Pittsburgh because that offensive line was atrocious.
Yes. Yeah, it was bad. And I've seen people say that, you can call it the picket fence. Mm-hmm. I know you didn't like that, but I like that a lot.
The picket fence, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was definitely a much needed position for Pittsburgh. I mean, their draft they addressed all their needs. Getting Darnell Washington was kind of a surprise to me because I honestly thought they already had a good tight end group with Pat Freiermuth and a bunch of young guys. So getting him, he's still done by all means, but I feel like he wasn't the right fit for Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh already has such a strong tight end group. But I honestly thought he was gonna go to Green Bay or even maybe Buffalo. But Buffalo too, they already got Dalton Kincaid and all them. But yes.
Yeah. So that's what Pittsburgh was my other winner. And I'm excited to see the picket fence in action.
Time will tell. But with winners comes losers. We're picking one loser because it's. I mean, we've done our research. It's hard to pick two losers. So we're just gonna do one, because every draft grade has no team ranking below a B minus. So I'm gonna start with mine though. I'm actually gonna pick the Tennessee Titans. And why do I do that? Because Tennessee's having off-season news storylines featuring Ryan Tannehill, Malik Willis, Derrick Henry, and they draft a quarterback. They draft a. I mean, you do need to run back to back up Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry's looking like he might get traded. Not this season, definitely next season. And yes, free agency's still a thing. But I don't know. I just I feel like getting those kind of guys, like, I don't know. But the Will Levis pick Tennessee kind of shocked me a little bit. I didn't think Will Levis was a first round pick by any means. I did not think he was that. I don't know what the hype was with Will Levis. I didn't think he was that good in college. He's decent, but I don't think he was the top 4 pick. So I don't know where the thing is. Oh, he's gonna be top 5 pick in the NFL draft. No, he's second round pick best. Tennessee getting him, to me, was disrespect to Malik Willis. Listen, Malik had a rough season, rookie season. He had a rough rookie season. But you should not give up your quarterback that easily. It's like the Josh Rosen effect in Arizona 2018. They drafted him with the 11th overall pick, and Josh Rosen was never the same. Now they will battle for backup position to Ryan Tannehill, which God knows what's going to happen to him, if he's going to get traded or not. But we'll see. I mean, at least with Will Levis, with Tennessee, he has a strong running game in Derrick Henry. They did address, I believe, the O-line positions, which good because they lost Taylor Lewan. But again, I just thought Tennessee could have done much better with their second round pick. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It There's a lot of pressure put on rookie quarterbacks and not a lot of grace given. And I mean quarterbacks in general, there's not a lot of grace given to them, but especially the rookies, because at the end of the day, it is a team sport, and part of the reason that a rookie plays the way that they do is related to their team, you know? And if you had put Malik Willis on the 49ers, would he have performed the same way he did on the Titans? Maybe, maybe not. It's hard to say.
Oh, I will say though, looking back, like I said, they addressed their line position, getting a Peter. Forgive me if I mispronounce it. Skronsky from Northwestern. So again, you addressed your positions, but I felt like the Will Levis pick wasn't. I don't know. I felt like it was a reach. Like I get it. This is a decent quarterback class, and I had a conversation with you about this. Next year, right now, just Caleb Williams as the quarterback for next year. There's not really a whole lot of quarterbacks. Like, next year quarterback class is not going to be as strong. So maybe that's why they draft the quarterback, because they know, like, once Caleb Williams gone, it's going to be hard to draft one. So I don't know. That's my loser, Tennessee.
Yeah. So my loser I had was the Dolphins. Not necessarily because I don't agree with their picks, but just because they lost their first round pick because of the whole Tom Brady thing. Yeah. I'm not even going to talk about that. And then with the Tyree trade, they lost a couple of their late round picks. So they didn't get their first pick of the was the 51st pick, in which they took a cornerback, Cam Smith from South Carolina, which I do think was a good pick for them. But really, they only had 4 draft picks. So I think they did well with the picks that they had, but, you know,
Who knows?
it's interesting, but, like, still, to only have 4 draft picks, I think that automatically kind of makes you one of the losers of the draft.
Right, rightfully so. They got. I mean, they got. Can't. I mean, and also too, you're dressed in a cornerback position, which you already got Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey. So I didn't think why,
Yeah.
And the running back, tight end. Tight end you definitely need it because you lost Mike Gesicki.
Yeah, but they could have addressed the tight end with their 51st pick instead of later in the round and gotten, better value.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that the guy they drafted isn't going to be a good value, but, if that's your main area of need.
Right. But yeah, so, I mean, time will tell. Thankfully their free agency period kind of made up for it with acquiring Jalen Ramsey and a couple other studs, so.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, the Dolphins had a really good free agency, so they didn't need those draft picks as much, but still to only have 4, it's kind of rough.
Rightfully so. And now the last topic of the day, we address winners, we address losers. Now surprises. Both of our picks are very similar. Very similar. Same position. I'm going to go Jamar Gibbs to the Lions. I was actually shocked about that pick because you already got David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, and now you bring Jamar Gibbs. This was before DeAndre Swift got traded. Maybe they knew DeAndre Swift's time in Detroit was over. I mean, you saw that war room.
Mm-hmm.
They were hyped. Like, he's a stud, now by all means. But I felt like Detroit already had a solid running game. And who knows? They did lose Jamal Williams. And they lost DeAndre Swift. They got David Montgomery and Jamar Gibbs. So, I mean, he's still a young running back core, but I felt like it wasn't the perfect place for Jamar Gibbs. I felt like he could have went to a team with, like, starting right off the bat potential. But, I mean, he can't help it. Detroit drafted him. But, I mean, who knows? I think Jamar Gibbs is going to pay off with Detroit. I was kind of shocked that the Lions picked him on 12th pick when it could have had, like, defensive front or...
Yeah, and I agree. Because my pick for the most surprising thing was the Falcons drafting Bijan Robinson. Because the Falcons had a lot of areas of needs, but the one area that they were good in, or not good at, but like that they were solid in last year was their running game. Mm-hmm. So it was very surprising that that's where they went. And to see 2 running backs get taken off the board so early in the first round, it's not something that happens very often, and especially taken by 2 teams who didn't necessarily seem like was an area of need. It was surprising.
Yeah, and one more surprise, because this kind of ties in, like, we kind of combined it. Mine was how a wide receiver / tight end didn't go to, like, 21st pick. Like, JSN in Seattle, I thought there were, like, 3 teams out. Oh, man, JSN's going to get drafted right here. I thought it was going to be the Bears. I thought it was going to be the Lions. I thought it was going to be Packers and Jets. But no. And I get it, they have much bigger needs to fill, but JSN with a stud like him who had 300 yards in a game one time, it's hard to pass up on him. So I think they just didn't want to take the risk of, like, getting a wide receiver instead of, like, getting their needs. So, I mean, for how long it took a wide receiver off the board and a tight end, it's kind of shocking.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think it's great that Seattle got JSN and the Bills got Dalton Kincaid, but I was surprised with how long it took before, those offensive weapons started going off the board, other than running back.
Yeah. But, all in good fun. We'll see how this pans out. We just want to do, like, a quick recap of the draft. We will have a show. We'll have a show next week. NFL schedule. And also, starting tomorrow, Be sure to follow my TikTok and Instagram on The4thDown, because tomorrow begins NFL Power Rankings. I have no idea who's the worst team in the league going to be. I have no idea who's the best team in the league going to be. I am not a scriptwriter. I don't work for the NFL, obviously. But it's going to be fun. This is my second year. This is the second year doing it. And we're excited. So stay tuned. But yeah, follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. One day we will have Spotify. One day. To the viewers watching, it'll be a miracle whenever Spotify comes out. But yeah, we appreciate all the love and support as always. Be sure to follow us, and we'll talk to y'all later. See y'all.
Bye.